Hello and welcome to this very interesting discussion today on LawVisor. This is all about litigation finance, a phrase that is being talked about very often, and we've got people who are at the hem of affairs. Let me introduce the panelists today. Kashish Grover. Kashish is a Chief Investment Officer at LegalPay and leads their investment and strategy. Kashish has experience spread across investment banking, deal advisory, finance, and strategy. Prior to joining LegalPay, he was working with organizations like PwC and Goldman Sachs. My second panelist today is Mr. Ashwini Kakkar. He doesn't really need an introduction. He's a renowned entrepreneur, and he was the executive vice chairman of Mercury Travels Limited and was the chairman of Wire.com. And he continues, with Ambit Capital and Ambit Private Limited. He has been on the board of over a dozen renowned companies and organizations, including Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry. But behind all of that, there is a lot of philanthropic work that Mr. Kakkar does in the area of, fighting hunger, and he's contributed tremendously during the COVID crisis. Welcome, Mr. Kakkar, to the panel. And my last panelist is Shruti Kanijo. She is a principal associate with Khaitan & Co., one of the most renowned law firms in India. She has done her LLM from University of Cambridge. She's advising clients on construction and energy arbitrations, shareholder disputes, product liability litigation, environment law issues, and disparagement and defamation claims. Everything that absolutely is suited for litigation finance. So welcome all of you, and let me start with Kashish. Kashish, so there's a lot of discussion around litigation finance these days. Can you please explain in a nutshell what litigation finance is to our readers or viewers?
Thank you so much, Aman, and a very warm welcome, and I appreciate that. So for the benefit, I'll just rephrase it in a very short span that litigation finance is a practice where a third-party funder or a third-party funder like LegalPay invests capital in a suit, in a case, in return for a portion of financial recovery from that lawsuit in future. So we at LegalPay pay for the entire legal cost associated with any case, such as expert witnesses, evidence fees, court fees, so on and so forth. So litigation finance helps businesses to transfer the litigation cost over to a third party, thereby increasing cash flows and valuations for such businesses. If you talk about on the flip side, it's a very, very lucrative asset class for the investors, and such asset class provide very lucrative returns, has very low beta, or no correlation with general macroeconomic factors. So on and all, it's a win-win scenario for both witnesses, businesses, law firms, and the investors.
Thanks, Kashish. Actually, we have a lot of questions to follow this up, but let me turn to Mr. Kakkar, and I just wanted to actually ask from him, because he's from the industry, that what is the need for litigation financing? Why do you think organizations should need that, and what kind of organization should need that?
Right. So third-party litigation funding is creating significant changes on the Indian landscape. And this is because of a variety of reasons. There is a strong need in the industry, specifically the smaller businesses, the micro, small and medium enterprises, as they face a lot of challenges in realizing recovery claims or fighting breach of contract cases against the larger domestic or multinational corporations. And this kind of thing is enabling access to justice for all of them and helping them to recover legitimate dues very, very efficiently. Actually, this issue of access to justice is a very important point, because a lot of the smaller domestic companies, can't find funds or even if they can, I mean, they have better uses for those funds. And if they can find people like LegalPay who are domestic litigation funders, then this will lead to a rise in a certain new category of litigation, especially things like class action suits and whistleblower suits and a whole slew of other litigation which is going to help these smaller companies.
All right. So this is basically not only help them recover their dues, but they will be able to put that funding to business growth, and therefore that is going to have not only the impact on their financial health, but also help them put on the growth path. I think that's a pretty good perspective. Thank you so much. And now, Shruti, let me ask you a question. That all this conversation has been going on, but there is a murmur about the whether what's the legality behind third-party litigation finance. Can you please throw some light on that? Being a representative from a renowned law firm.
One, I think this is a question which is at the core of why third-party funding in India has not picked up, even though it has existed for years. So I'll go with that. And just as a matter of clarification, this is my own personal view, and I would endorse third-party litigation funding and LegalPay in that sense. The reason why litigation funding is not picked up is also because there's a lot of unawareness and misinformation regarding its illegality. A lot of people believe that litigation funding is against public policy of India, it's champertus, or it's hit by maintenance, all of these common law doctrines that in fact are not applicable in India under Indian law. What in fact is present is a 2018 Supreme Court judgment in which the Supreme Court of India has recognized the third-party funding concept itself and said that there is no bar on third-party funding. The only bar that exists is a lawyer funding his own client's case. That is what is barred. Additionally, if you look at the Civil Procedure Code in India, it has specific provisions for a third-party financer that is very specific to a couple of states, but yes, it exists, and showing that there is amenability to it. There is plethora of case laws since 1800s that has explored third-party litigation funding. It has set down criteria. There is a whole blueprint that's available in that sense. So yes, it is not illegal. There are criteria which provide for it. And very recently in 2017, Justice Sri Krishna's report on institutionalization of arbitration also suggested that it will help third-party funding and institutions like LegalPay would help making India a commercial arbitration hub. So it's very important that we look at it now.
All right. I think there's some activities that have started, and we will be discussing about how the future is going to look like for this. But let me ask another question here, which is that how an organization like LegalPay decide on matters where they would be actually giving the funding. So Kashish, how do you guys really decide that you have to put your money on a matter X and not on matter Y? What's the method to it?
Definitely, I mean, and this is one of the very apt question and pertinent to the discussion, because not every case fits into our thesis. LegalPay follows a very strict process before giving a nod to any case, apart from general NDA clauses to ensure confidentiality, etc. The entire process of underwriting or diligence is very thorough, and in a nutshell, it can be divided into three-step process. One is legal diligence. So LegalPay looks very closely at the legal merits, circumstances, precedents in similar forums, similar cases, documentary evidence, contracts, just to ensure that the kind of cases we are funding meet the legal merits and there are no surprises towards the progress or towards the end of the case. Second, LegalPay has a very detailed financial diligence, not just on the plaintiff but also on the defendant, because we at any possible scenario would like to avoid a scenario where defendant, who will be the ultimate party giving the amount, fails to meet that and become insolvent, or has a financially crunched balance sheet and we fail to definitely monetize the claim. And third and the most important is operational diligence, because when we fund a case, we look closely at softer parameters such as lawyer's capability while he or she is underwriting the case, lawyer's historic track record in similar cases, his performance against a similar bench, etc. So these are very high level parameters. Definitely it's a very thorough process before we fund a case. So much to do, but on a nutshell, these are the 3 steps or benchmarks that form pillars for our any funding.
Is it restricted to only businesses, or there are individual litigations, high profile litigations at promoter levels that you consider as well?
Sure. So businesses, we like business to business disputes very much, because we are able to analyze both the parties and their financial viabilities and backgrounds very easily. Yet we have received very, very marquee cases as well, which we are looking very positively. So at least one side should be businesses is a key requirement for us. But otherwise, it doesn't restrict to us, but definitely when you are an initial holder doing so in India, so you have to be very cognizant of the fact that both the parties are financially sound and reliable when it comes to funding.
All right. And in fact, during the pandemic time, when the COVID is going on, a lot of businesses are actually going down. And I actually wanted to, turn to Mr. Thakkar and ask him that, what is the relevance of litigation financing at the time of pandemic? How, when everybody is deferring decisions during the pandemic time, how do you see litigation finance is going to work in these times?
These really tough times, businesses are seeking newer and newer ways to generate cash flows or transfer non-operating expenses in any way that they can to just stay afloat. And they're using cost-cutting measures, they're using furloughs, they're using layoffs, hiring freezes, all kinds of things. And as far as legal cases are concerned, businesses are actively looking at offloading that legal risk, such as the kind of funding that we are talking about. So litigation funding becomes a very good option for these businesses and provides a very good solution for the severe financial crunch that is being faced by businesses in these COVID-19 times.
And I'm sure Shruti can also vouch for the fact that pandemic is also going to lead to a lot of litigations related to, I think, contractual obligations and things like that. Let me just ask you a question, Shruti. How immune is the legal industry to this pandemic? We have seen sectors like EdTech, e-commerce and all of that did fantastically well. What about legal sector? And in the context of litigation finance, how do you think this is going to go?
Bas, that's a very, very good question. And I think you hit the nail on its head. Like all these EdTech and other industries, legal industry is also a service industry. And it's not immune, definitely not immune to COVID-19 impact. And we've seen that since 2020. Since we are in the service industry, our services would clearly depend on how the market intangible is faring to COVID-19, which has not been really good. So when we talk about transactions, we can see very different industries, how they've reacted to COVID-19. Accordingly, legal industries also reacted to. But when you talk about litigation, as you've identified, a lot of these contracts, including international contracts, small lease agreements, so a whole range of these agreements and contracts, including really big transactions that are a part of these contracts, have suffered. So in that sense, litigations have increased. But along with the same side, like Mr. Thakkar mentioned, the working capital and the capability of the company to actually support these litigations has reduced. Now, there are instances where an entire company whose working capital is dependent on one single project, and that project goes to dispute. that kind of projects can really take help of litigation financing. And these projects can be seen very, very often against government agencies where the timelines are very strict. COVID-19 force majeure argument has not been taken really well, and the companies are struggling. So that's, I think, where litigation financing comes in.
So, but let me actually shift gears and try to find out, technology is playing pivotal role in actually advancing every single industry. And what is the role technology plays in legal pay or litigation finance organizations? Kashish, over to you for your inputs here.
Very, very fair point. And I think the kind of technological advancement, not just over the last decade, but in fact in last 1.5 years, and the spur within the industry, not just any other industries, is in fact legal or fintech industry where we operate is phenomenal. The kind of request, and being the only domestic funder in India, the kind of requests that we have been receiving are phenomenal. We are swarmed with queries and inquiries from different businesses, from different plaintiffs looking for either litigation funding, or a couple of them even looking to monetize their awarded claims because the courts are closed, the courts are not functioning very effectively. And that's where we say we are a tech-focused company because we leverage technology not just in our sourcing or underwriting, which definitely is our bread and butter, but also as an enabler. So we leverage technology and have developed an algorithm which filters out cases and requests. So we have a 15-point plus scoring algorithm which rates each case on its merit. And such normalized database plays an important role, not just from our outbound sourcing perspective, also in terms of underwriting. So when we scrap such data, mine it, analyze it, it also helps us in underwriting the case or seeing what cases meet our thesis very well. We also look at a knack of the cases that we reject or we dismiss, or the cases which are lost by plaintiffs, because such actually aids in our robust underwriting. And definitely, as I said, it's an enabler. Technology is an enabler for us. Entire operations, we want to keep it as lean as possible, and we are till now successful in maintaining everything, all the areas through tech-focused approach, where all our stakeholders and partners, such as investors, businesses, lawyers, and law firms, all use technology very effectively so that our cost minimal approach is adhered to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let me actually, so in any case, I mean, whatever happens is that there will be money that is going to fund the litigations. And, obviously that is going to help not only the organization, but lawyers as well. So Shruti, what are the benefits lawyers or law firms have, when litigation finance is going to flow in?
Law firms and in that sense, the clients are the ones which will really benefit. We will get to enjoy working on cases which are meritorious, because litigation funding involves a lot of due diligence in the beginning. So that's one important. A lot of clients will definitely benefit in terms of getting litigations which are meritorious, which affect their working capital or the balance sheet itself on board. And in that sense, also Mr. Kakkar's point on access to justice about class actions and other litigations, which are very, very important things, including whistleblower complaints, that will also find channel in the sense of people being able to actually come forward and forth. And I know Legal Pay is actually supporting a lot of whistleblower complaints as well.
Yep.
So it will be a good thing in terms of corporate governance, access to justice, real justice that we as people of India want to see.
And it will also help law firms to have better top lines moving forward and bottom lines.
Hopefully, all of us.
Yeah. So, and now I'm actually concluding, and my last question is to Mr. Kakkar, is that how does litigation funding help businesses in ways more than what we've already discussed? If you can sum that up, as a takeaway for the businesses who are actually watching this at this point of time.
the underlying reason why litigation finance was started was to provide access to justice. I think that is the basis of this whole thing. It provided capital to smaller parties, to people who needed to contest litigation against the larger organizations, and they were, unequal. The David and Goliath syndrome, as it were. And that's how this whole thing came about. But there's been a lot of evolution in the last 5 or 6 years on how businesses use litigation financing. And this has become a tool to enhance valuations. And for example, legal expense is a charge on the profit and loss. And even if a company wins a lawsuit with its own capital, it is normally treated as a one-off item. And there's a whole slew of things that go on. But if organizations use the dedicated legal budgets that they have, and even if they have to, use it to defend cases, it's much better than actively pursuing new litigation, as it were. And for this kind of thing, it becomes very, very easy to use litigation finance as a means to pursue just and legal cases. So businesses can make effectively better use of their capital and channelize it for operating activities. Things like investing in CapEx, investing in human capital, investing in their core business, rather than use it for litigating against others, as it were. So what I would like to say in this case, especially with regard to companies like LegalPay, is that if a company has a really strong legal case, and if they are a corporation, then a company like LegalPay can take it off their books. If they are stressed out about what if and are looking at risks, then a company like LegalPay can take it off their mind. And if they are unable to muster the resources and raise the money or raise the time or raise the expertise, then a company like LegalPay can take it off their hands. So I think there's a great opportunity here, and I think everybody should make the most of it.
Kashish, tell me something. How should an organization approach you? How does it work? Is it done through law firms or people approach you directly? How it is going to work?
So we have 3 sourcing channels, to be very honest. One, definitely we are into the industry present with the last 5 years, and with LegalPay's existence last 1.5 years, where it has been very strong. So we have partners, channel partners such as GCs of the businesses, law firms as our primary partners who refer cases to us. And the third and the most important criteria is definitely inbound request, where they can go directly to our website, submit a case directly to us, and our legal team is working round the clock. They'll be very happy to reach out to you, address your concerns on a real-time basis. So GCs directly refer to cases to us, law firm partners who can, either lawyers through their channel partners can approach us, and third and the most important, they can directly reach out to us through our website, legalpay.in. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I will turn to Shruti for the final comments. How do you see the future of litigation finance in India, Shruti?
I think it's very, very bright. There are some concerns that we've already discussed about. One, the awareness. Second, source of financing, because that is also very important. I think another thing would be to see the fun case of litigation financing in public domain that goes to court, gets litigated, and one of the courts, either the High Court or eventually the Supreme Court, lays down the law of the land and clears the field to say that yes, litigation financing in unequivocal terms, valid, completely legal means to raise funds for companies to access of justice alike. I do think LegalPay is doing a very good job. The paraphernalia for class actions and other issues will rise. It will also increasingly help people access justice in terms of new fields of law very, very well.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Shruti, for your comments. With that, we come to close to this panel discussion. Thank you very much, Shruti. Thank you very much, Mr. Thakkar. Thank you, Kashish, for being there. And I hope our audience enjoys this. Thank you very much.